Hi everyone, this is Pete from GH Music. I'm here today in Sydney at Roland HQ with my good friend Simon Aiton, Roland Product Specialist. We're going to be talking a bit about Roland drum kits today. To give you a quick bit of background on the store, GH Music has been a musical instruments store in Melbourne since the early 60s. Primarily the store was founded on drummers. And even though today we sell every type of musical instrument you can imagine, we've always specialised in drums. In the opening to this video, I was sitting here at this kit. This kit is the TD-30, and I'm going to hand over to Simon now to give you a quick rundown on what the TD-30 is.
Thanks, Pete. Hi guys. Yeah, this is the TD-30 KV. So this is our top-of-the-range V-drums kit. And you can see today we've got the special custom shell wraps we actually make here at Roland in Sydney. So these are like a beautiful wood grain finish. You can actually recover the drums yourself. You don't need glue. You don't need anything special to glue them to your drums. They just literally unscrew and come off, so you can exchange the wraps for any colour surface that you like. We've got a whole range of them that we sell.
So in that opening sequence, I was playing a kit called Burnin', which is, as it would have sounded, quite a large rocky kit. One feature with the Burnin' kit is, now correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, Simon, but I can add in ambience. So if, like me, I'm a bit of a rock guy, so I like big sounding drums, not too tight, plenty of reverb. I've got basically a fader here, which is called ambience, and I can start off with nothing, and then I can slowly blend in more room mic. Which gives me that big open.
So seeing as you've got the headset mic on, you could actually do In the Air Tonight or something like that. Keep it in the vibe with that sound. There you go.
Like that. Nice. So what I might do is I'll get now Simon to, say, take a basic kit and go to town on editing it.
Okay, so we've got our basic drum kit sound at position number 5, which is a birch kit. Yep. But often I don't want it to be so dry, because this is a super dry. It's a really nice kit for practicing fills and ghost notes and
sure,
that sort of stuff. But sometimes we want certain part of the kit to have a different sound. So we might want the snare to be really dry, but the bass drum might have a bit more body to it. So if we wanted to go, this is very much the sort of tight 70s sort of funk sound that you would hear in the studio, where they muffle everything down and maybe stuffed a pillow in there and maybe even a blanket or something over the top of the bass drum to make a tunnel out of it. So it's a very dead sound. So it's quite nice, but I want something different. So what I can do on here is hit the instrument button, and in here I can not only choose a different sound for the kit. I'm quite happy with that birch bass drum, but I might go and have a look what else that I've got. So here's a standard maple kick, or a maple kick with a little bit more bottom end. So here's a 22-inch maple. That's pretty nice, but it's still quite dry. So what I can do here in the V editing of the kit, so this is something that's unique to V drums, is I can adjust things like the depth of the shell. So here I have a picture of a bass drum which shows me normal depth of the bass drum. So it might be, if I've got a 22-inch bass drum, it'll be 16 inches deep. Well, this actually lets me change it to make it another couple of inches deep, or even go with like a 20-inch deep bass drum. So it's more of a canon sound. So here it was before, and now. Okay, it's subtly different, but to a drummer, as you know, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it does.
It makes you play it differently. So you'll play less notes, but you might sustain notes a bit more and make more of a feature of the bass drum in your playing.
How could we make that sound more punchy?
Okay, so if we want it to sound more punchy, a couple of things. Firstly, what's hitting the bass drum head? Well, the first thing is we're using a felt beater. So if we want to make it more snappy, we might change the beater type. So we might go to something that's wood. It's got more of a knock to it.
Yeah, more attack.
And plasticky if we want. So now we've got versus before.
Yeah.
So it's a bit artificial, it's plastic sounding, but that's good because it gives you this good snappy attack. So we've got that going on. Let's change the head type now. So coated heads are quite warm sounding heads. As anyone who's put a head on a bass drum will know, it makes a dramatic difference to the way the drum vibrates. So here's a coated head. If I go and choose a pinstripe head, this is more of a rock sound. It's a dual ply head, so you can actually hear the plies slapping together, and that's what gives you the knock sound. So the bass drum, we haven't changed the sound of the bass drum. It's still just a standard maple bass drum, but we've changed the skin and we've changed the beater.
Yep.
So now...
And the depth.
Yes, and depth. And now we might want to change the tuning of it. So often what I do is just play it and find a spot where you get a resonant point in the bass drum. That's pretty cool because you've got this sub happening. Which is cool. It makes you play something interesting. It makes you think about how, maybe different grooves that you can play that will feature the bass drum. So now it still doesn't quite have enough life to me. It's still a bit dead sounding. So we also have tape here. We can adjust how many bits of tape we've got on the bass drum. So at the moment it's got like a little smiley face or a little sort of, I don't know what you'd call that, sad face on there. 3 bits of tape. Yeah. Sort of a sort of face.
It's kind of a whatever face.
We'll just go back to just a one single piece of tape on the bass drum. So it's got a bit more resonance there.
That's cool.
Or we can turn it off altogether. Okay. So I want to try to go with a bit of a John Bonham sound.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of resonance happening there. The other thing I wanted is a bit of snare buzz. So when I hit the bass drum, the snare vibrates. It's called a snare drum because it's got, the snare strainer, so let's hear it a bit. Yeah. So it's like we've either turned up the bottom microphone or we've actually just loosened off the snares to make them rattle a bit. So these are things that engineers over the years have wanted to try to get rid of, but we're ironically wanting to have them back again now that we've got all this capabilities. Sure. Because it's part of the life of them. Okay, so we've got our snare rattling, which is cool. And next we can do things like mic position. So inside the bass drum, the microphone, all the way inside, so it's right up against the beater. If I move it towards the outside the drum, now we're hearing it from a position outside and it's brighter. A lot of people think that moving the mic outside is going to make it duller, but it actually makes the sound brighter. So, because we're hearing more of the bright room. Sure. And so that's cool. And we're going to change the size of the mic. Instead of being like a little 57, it shows you a picture of a small dynamic mic on the screen. We can choose something that would be like a D112, which is a big egg mic, which gives you more bottom end. Yeah, yeah. So now we've got even more bottom end. So now the last piste de resistance is this kit resonance. So I can adjust this so that the toms vibrate. So now I'm much more likely to...
All the things that freak engineers out. That's cool.
Versus before when it was completely dry with no kit resonance. Which is nice, but it doesn't quite have that feeling of movement. So the unique thing about the sound engine in the V-Drums module is that we can go through and customize this stuff, like where the mic is on the hi-hat. So if you need to be brighter, you can adjust that. Same with the toms. If you want them to be a bit brighter or duller, you can move it, put tape on them. So it's very easy. Perfect.
I hope that helps. And please come and see us anytime if you have any other questions about V-Drums kits. Thanks.